Hi there, it's Rory from 10losttribes.com. It's Sunday, and I thought that I wouldn't be doing too many more videos, but I can squeeze one more in. Maybe I can get one done once a week, but I think that we've run out of time for a lot of this sort of carry on. Anyway, let's get into it. So today's talk is Sharing from My Heart, number 8, and it's about Trump and about trumpets. So I've titled this Trumpet and the Grim Reaper. And Trump has just put out this video that I want to talk about because a lot of what I talk about is a bit about the regathering of Israel. And in order to regather them, he must bring them out of the nations that they're scattered in. And the main nation they're scattered in is America, which has become a form of Babylon. And the Lord is bringing judgment upon all the nations where the house of Israel, the lost tribes, the 10 lost tribes of the house of Israel are scattered in. And I believe we've just been told that the 4 horsemen are coming, that judgment is at the door, as I will explain. So my website is all about the regathering of Israel. And, you know, I put these slides together years ago. It's like a business card, if you like, and some banners for my website. And it's got a picture of America with an axe through it. The Lord is actually going to bring judgment. A nation divided cannot stand. The Lord is going to divide America himself through the enemy in order to bring judgment, to shake up the church, and to bring his people out, his remnant people. Now, you'll see on this picture here that there is a palm tree on one side and a mushroom cloud on the other. In Joel it says, I'll pour out my spirit on all flesh. Your sons and daughters will prophesy and dream dreams. Young men will see visions. And it says that the sun will turn to darkness, the moon to blood, and there will be pillars of smoke. That's what it says in the King James. But in the Hebrew it's Tamarat Ashan, palm trees of smoke. And I believe that's nuclear war and destruction of the cities in America and worldwide. And I believe that's at Pentecost. And I believe that we've been given our marching orders, and that this Feast of Trumpets that we've just had has announced the coming judgment, and Yom Kippur has cemented that, sealed it, as I'll talk about later. And shortly, as soon as Tabernacles is over, even maybe before Tabernacles is over, we're going to see things really start to shift spiritually and physically in our nations as chaos comes, as the enemy comes, as darkness comes. And I want to talk about that. I want to talk about some dreams that I've had, a dream and a vision that I had. And I really see that these are quite significant. So my website shows the regathering of Israel from all the nations. Here we are from Australia and in America and wherever else the lost tribes are scattered. And God's going to bring a remnant out, but he's going to judge the bulk of the house of Israel. Jacob is going to be made thin. He's going to thin the ranks. There's famine coming. There's destruction coming. There's war coming. All the stuff that Christians don't want to know about and Messianics hide from. But the Lord is bringing judgment in order to wake up a remnant so some can be saved, because much of what we've got in churchianity is just an abomination before the Lord. We are not listening to him. We've closed our ears so many times that now most people cannot hear from the Lord. And if you tell them anything, they'll think you're mad. I've talked about this before. So I believe that the signs are multiplying, that Babylon America is about to be taken down, and we are heading into World War III. We're heading into the Red Horse Judgment. We're heading into all 4 horsemen riding at once. The church needs a major shock to wake it up from its slumber and idolatry, including its Trump-olatry. You know, we've had bad leaders in our nations, including not just America. And sometimes people get desperate for a leader to save them. But who are we looking to really in our hearts? Are our hearts really following the Lord, or are we following after man? So the Lord sees our hearts, and there's a lot that's really, really rotten inside the hearts of those that call themselves Christians and believers, because they're putting their trust in a president instead of Yeshua himself. So do we know the time that we're in, and do we know our God? Because in this time of shaking, we really need to know our God. And look, I'm not tough. I just know where to fall. I fall on my face before the Lord. And I would just counsel everybody that if this chaos comes upon our nation, if invasion comes at some stage, but if the streets are erupting in violence, put your trust in God. Put your trust in Him. Maybe you might want to stock up on food. Do everything that you can to be safe. But it also says that they that would wish to save their lives will lose it. So we need to actually also be ready with the gospel. We need to be ready to be available to the Lord. I believe the glory of the Lord is coming, but darkness as well, as I've said before. So I want to talk about a number of things. I want to talk about trumpets, Judgment Day, and the Grim Reaper, which doesn't sound very nice, does it? But we know that the fourth horseman is death, and following it is hell. So there's the Grim Reaper, death and hell. And I had a vision about trumpets, and I think that this is the time we're coming into right now. We've had the Feast of Trumpets, but the judgments are sealed at Yom Kippur 10 days later, and they are going to be visited now for the coming year. We'll talk about that later. I want to talk about a dream that I had of a floating house, or a balloon house, because it was floating on balloons, and what this means. And I want to talk about all of this in the context of a possible timeline that I have envisaged, which may or may not be correct, but I think judgment is just about to hit our nations really hard. Now, way back when, back in 2016 and so forth, everyone was, a lot of Christians were banging the drum for Trump. And look, I think he was a better choice than the other side. But sadly, people put their trust in people. And there's a picture of this Liberty coin from 2024, and it says, "In God we trust." But I believe that Trump has been elevated to godlike status in many people's hearts. And man cannot help us. Our help comes from the Lord. Yes, the Lord raises up leaders, and he brings leaders down. But it's the Lord that is the one that's going to help us. But the Lord is not going to save our nations from their own wickedness if there's no repentance, and there isn't. I believe that the model that we should be looking at is the Titanic is sinking, and we need to get on the life raft. And that life raft is Yeshua. We need to put our trust in Him and not in man. So this book says, in Trump we trust. No, that's the wrong message. No, we don't trust in Trump. We trust in the Lord. We trust in Yeshua. We trust in Jesus. We trust in the maker of heaven and earth. We trust in the one that suffered and died for us and is risen from the dead, and He is Lord. That is the one that we trust in. And we need to pray for those that are in power, but not trust in those in power. This is really, really the wrong message that's been given to, and many people have believed it because they trust in man. This is serious stuff, because this is an abomination before God. Jeremiah 17:5. Thus saith the Lord, Cursed be the man that trusteth in man, and maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart departeth from the Lord. So when we have a nation that's trusting in a man, that we know that they have departed from the Lord. Even if that man stands for so-called Christian values, or at least says some of the things that we want to hear. Hitler's Germany, they were oppressed through all the war debts and so forth after World War I, and they looked for a man to save them, and they chose Adolf Hitler. And he said many things that were good, as well as some things that were evil. Now, the things that were evil were really evil, but the things that were good were what people needed to hear, but they put their trust in him. And he led them to war and destruction. Only Yeshua can save us. And sadly, the people in America and the world have not learnt the lesson of Germany. They have not listened to the voice of the Lord, but they've repeated the same mistakes that people do when they put their trust in men rather than God. And the word for cursed be the man is the word giver. That's the mighty man. And there's a lot of tough guys that are putting their trust in a man that's talking tough, but is leading them down the primrose path to destruction. So this is a picture way back in 2016, and Trump is like Captain America. Now, I agree with a lot of the things that Trump said, but I didn't trust him. I don't trust them. I like, home and family and making, our nations great again. I'm an Australian. I'm in Australia. I'm a Kiwi. But I don't trust the leaders. The Bible says the kings of the earth rise up and their rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed. Trump is not a Christian, not by a long shot. Now, I wrote an article way back in 2017 on my website, and it was called The Final Trump, Apollo worshipping, I won't say the rest of it, president to divide Israel and America. Descent into chaos in World War III. I saw that way back in 2017, clear as day, no dream or vision. It's just very obvious for what the man says and what he's about, as I explained in this article. So I could see way back then that Donald Trump is going to be a president for war, and that's exactly what's happening now. It's exactly what's happening now. America is getting stirred up, and the world is getting stirred up for war, and Trump is picking a fight because it's time to take down America and the nations. The Lord is the one. It's not just Satan that's behind this. The Lord is sending forth the horsemen to bring judgment. And just like what's happened in Ukraine, with Putin sending Russian soldiers to kill Ukrainian soldiers, the end result is there are a lot of dead Russians and Ukrainians, and it's to nobody's benefit. But it is also a judgment of God for our godlessness. And the same thing is going to be repeated all around the world by all the different prime ministers and presidents, and the end result is going to be a lot of death. And God is going to make man more rare than the fine gold of Ophir. He's going to make man very, very scarce. This is inside President Trump's 66th floor of Trump Towers, and there's a painting in the back. You may not be able to see it, but it's of Apollo. Apollo is a polyon or a Abaddon. It means destruction. So this gold-filled house is all about the God of destruction. Now we're beginning to see another side of what Trump is bringing. Now, there was a video put out a few days ago, and it had a song about the Reaper, or Blue Oyster Cult or something or other. And I'm just going to show a few screenshots from it. You see the moon, it's full. A full moon means middle of the month, Hebrew month. Well, the middle of the Hebrew month is Tabernacles. So the moon is over the White House, and the sky is dark and cloudy, and it's very dark and foreboding. Judgment is coming. And here we have some person looking like the Grim Reaper marching out from the White House. And here we have a band playing, and these two silhouetted or hooded figures behind President Trump are playing music, and they've got skulls. They're dead men. So this is all about death and destruction. So this is a classic picture of the Grim Reaper with his scythe, and it turns out to be a man. And in the video, it's Russ Voigt. So he's the Reaper. Anyway, judgment is coming. Financial judgment is coming. The whole banking system's about to change. People are already working hard just to stay afloat. Maybe that's one reason I don't get too many men on my channel. They're too busy trying to pay the bills and to work their tail off. Now, I hope that's the reason. I hope it's because they have no interest. It's not because they have no interest in Bible prophecy, which is also true for a lot of men. Look, the clock has struck 12. It looks like Big Ben, but it's 12 o'clock. It's midnight, the witching hour. It's time for judgment. Here we have pictures of various Democrats, I believe, and I'm not big on all the details of American politics and so forth, and neither do I care that much. I believe left and right are two wings of the same bird, and it's all just illusion. I think there's probably more use to pray for those that are in power than to vote. So no matter who's in power, we should be praying for them. Because I believe our nations have cooked their goose. Here the power's gone. The power's gone out of the White House. Now, I believe that what's happening with these... I believe this video is crazy in the sense that this is not a presidential thing to be putting videos out like this. This is just exacerbating the differences between left and right, and it's just mockery, and it's America is being divided, and what's happening on both sides, left and right, is that the divide is becoming more intense in order to create the conditions for civil war, martial law, and invasion, and just mayhem and destruction. Now, judgment is coming in terms of the dollar, and apparently, according to this video, this is the man to do it. We need to wake up. Here, all these people in front of their desks with the screens pointing the wrong way, by the way. That's the wonders of AI. And then here, zombies walking, unemployment, destruction. I believe that all of these memes are real as well. There's going to be a time when this actually happens, as I've talked about on my website. So it says you won't be able to fly. It won't be able to fly away from all of this. But the bride will. The bride will be given wings of an eagle to get out. But much of what is called the church isn't a bride. She ain't ready. And she's going into destruction if she doesn't pull the cotton buds out of her ears and start listening. My sheep hear my voice. So in this video, the left is being mocked to the Democrats, and then we have something rather ghoulish here, Halloween, and death with the American flag painted on. So and on the hat of the girl here is "Make America Great Again." So we need, and the bee is that to do with I can't remember it. The beehive, what's the name? Anyway, I'm not too interested in all the symbology here. You get the picture. Death is coming, and the end credits had some ghoulish figures going around the name of the team that put this video together. And I think the whole thing really, really speaks of the four horsemen of the apocalypse and death and hell in particular. So, trumpets. I had a vision, a very brief vision, back in Sunday, the 9th of June 2024. I prayed today for God to open up His Word. All I have seen these past 2 years has been about the 144,000. There must be so much more to His Word. I was tired, and just as I was going to La La Land, going to sleep, I saw a vision of people blowing trumpets with black eyes. Now, I'm not a visions and dreams person, and when I say a vision, it was just like when someone says imagine something or other, but I wasn't trying to imagine anything, and this picture came into my mind quite clearly. So I believe it was from an external source, and was it the Lord? Now, these people, it was like they were in like a row, like on a small grandstand, like, what soccer mums would be on watching their kids play sport. There might be 5 rows of people standing up and cheering. Well, these people were not standing up and cheering. They were blowing trumpets, and they were dressed sort of shabbily, and their faces were grimy, and the picture was kind of dark and subdued, and they didn't look happy. They were sullen, and they had black eyes. So perhaps what I wrote is, perhaps it means zombies or demon-possessed people rising up at the Feast of Trumpets. I need God in my life, is what I said. Well, I believe that this is prophetic, that this indeed is a vision from the Lord, and that judgment is coming in trumpets, and we've had the Feast of Trumpets, and I strongly suspect that this is the 7th seal, and we're about to see all hell break loose as all 4 horsemen of the apocalypse ride at once, plus the martyrdom and the wrath that I've talked about before. So I looked for some AI pictures that would roughly give you a sense of what I saw. It didn't quite look like this. The trumpets were bigger, and they were just the straight sort of fairy tale sort of trumpets that you have. That one's perhaps the closest to it there. And they didn't have hats on. They were. It was kind of a little bit like this. That was more the sort of trumpet that they had, that sort of thing. I couldn't find a picture that quite showed exactly what I saw, but I'm trying to give you an idea. Now, I want to talk about what the Bible says in Numbers chapter 10, verse 9. They were told to make two silver trumpets, and if ye go to war in your land against the enemy that oppresseth you, then ye shall blow an alarm with the trumpets, and ye shall be remembered before the Lord your God, and ye shall be saved from your enemies. So trumpets is about raising the alarm. It's also, the next verse, it's talking about your feasts and your appointed times when you're to blow the trumpets in the time of your solemnities and so forth. But the purpose of trumpets is also to raise the alarm, and that's what I'm trying to do with this video and all of my videos and my blog, is to raise the alarm to those that are listening. That judgment is at the door. I believe everything that my website is about, the raising up of the 10 lost tribes, the judgment that precedes it, is about to happen. It's about to happen. Here's some more pictures that I did with AI, rather ghoulish and creepy looking. But again, the trumpets were bigger, and they were more kind of going straight up. And yeah, here's another one. Just trying to get the right look, and it wasn't quite the same. But anyway, you get the idea. Isaiah 58 verse 1, Cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgression, and the house of Jacob their sins. So I had said to the Lord quite a few years ago, we don't need a still small voice, we need a trumpet. And immediately I knew the Lord heard me. And I fasted for 10 days because I felt I was in trouble because of the just disrespectful way I said it. But I also believe that what I said was correct, and the Lord agreed. But he just needed to get my heart right, because I was kind of pointing the finger at God as if you're to blame. But God's not to blame. And yes, we do need a trumpet blast to wake people up. I was correct. And I still haven't been that trumpet. I still can't get the message out. But the Lord can. He's going to raise up people to do that very, very shortly. And it's going to cost them something, because when you tell people stuff they don't want to hear, they're not happy with you, and you get isolated and reproached. And this is going to happen to those that actually put themselves in harm's way to tell people what they don't want to hear. Again, I've talked about this before, but I believe the time is now, that judgment is just about to be unfurled, that the judgment began on the Feast of Trumpets. There was 10 days, then those judgments are set, and now they're just about to be enacted. There's another picture from AI, the wonders of AI, scary stuff. Anyway, now I want to talk about something a little bit more positive. I had a dream of a balloon house. What was that? Well, Thursday, December the 7th, 2023, I had a dream last night that I was given a large flying house and property to live by someone, and they especially made a point of giving me a big hug and making me feel welcome. Was that God? I can actually answer this from the scriptures, but I've actually had some confirmation just recently on what this dream is all about, and it was what I actually suspected. So I'm very grateful. I believe the time is short, and today I had a divine appointment with somebody that came to visit, and I believe that God is about to do something this Feast of Tabernacles. God is about to do amazing things. So this dream was fuzzy. It wasn't like super real. The dream was just a dream, not particularly vivid. But I got a hug from this person, and this hug felt super real. It vibrated, it felt electric, it felt real, supernaturally real. So the house was a little bit like the movie Up, a Pixar animated movie that came out in 2009 about a man that had a wife named Ellie, and the first part of the movie they grow up together, and sadly she dies. She's full of adventure and fun, and he's a serious sort of dude, and but they complement one another. It's a sad story because I'm sad for him because his wife died. And of course it's an animated movie, but it does have a heart. And this man had a house that he worked on with his wife. It was all dilapidated, and they built it up when they were young, and they lived through it and had a life together. They wanted children, but they couldn't have children. And I identify with that because that's been my story too. His wife died, and then he had to move on. Was he going to go to Shady Oaks Retirement Village? Very funny name. Or he couldn't stay in his house for too long because the developers were putting up skyscrapers all around him, and they wanted to push him off his land. So he decided to attach balloons to his house because that's what his business was. He used to have a business related to balloons and children and entertainment or something or other. So he attached balloons to his chimney of his house, so many balloons that it caused the house to float. And on board his house was this little Chinese young boy that came along with him, and they had an adventure at Paradise Falls that his wife always wanted to visit in South America. It's America, only south. And lovely story. And there's a mean old man that was an adventurer too, and he wanted to get this bird that the boy actually found. Then the boy called this bird Kevin, which happened to be a female, a brightly coloured bird with some children. And the mean old man wanted to get the bird, kill it, and stuff it and whatever. So anyway, the mean old man lost his life eventually, and everybody lived happily ever after, including Kevin, the brightly coloured bird, and his children, her children. Very strange. But Kevin actually means, is it noble son or something like that? And I believe that there is a sort of analogy to the red dragon going after the woman and going after the children, the man-child. Anyway, let's have a look at a picture of this house. This is a shot from the animation, and he's just attached the balloons, and he's leaving the developers behind, and he's on his way out of his predicament on his floating home. Now, I believe that there's a point to the dream that I had, because I believe that the dream was not just about earthly provision. The Bible talks in Psalm 83 about a conspiracy against not only Israel, but against their hidden ones, the hidden ones. Now, there's a number of ways of hiding people. There was a man called God's smuggler who smuggled Bibles into the Iron Curtain, into Eastern Europe and into communist countries. And they would open up his car, his VW car, and there were Bibles in it, and they couldn't see them. They were hidden in plain sight. Now, God can hide us in all sorts of ways. He can hide us like those Bibles hidden in plain sight, but he can also hide us in heaven. We can be raptured, or we can be taken into a parallel dimension. And I believe that that's one of the ways that God's going to hide people in the end times. And I've had some confirmation through various things people have said. So I believe that this verse about the hidden ones, that these hidden ones are primarily hidden in parallel dimensions. And this may sound like science fiction, but I believe that that's what God was showing me. Here's another shot of the house going over the city. And you see also that there's a plane going to South America, or South America is in the picture, and that's where they're heading to. Now, in Luke chapter 15, verse 20, we read about the prodigal son, and it says that when the prodigal was returning home to his father's house, the father came to him. He came to his father, but his father ran out to meet him. But when he was yet a great way off, his father saw him and had compassion, and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. And I believe that's the hug that I received, is the hug of the Father in heaven. That God was receiving me. I'm the prodigal. I'm coming home to my Father's house. And I can't imagine that, personally. I know that God is my Father, but to really internalize that is something that's difficult for me. That God is my Father? I mean, we talk about this, but do we really, really know that in our hearts? Well, in this dream, the Lord gave me a place that was between heaven and earth. It was floating in the air. It was a balloon house. And I was attached to that house because I had a piece of string in my hand attached to the house. Just like in the movie, actually, they did a similar thing. And I believe that the Lord used that metaphor for me of this balloon house because I liked the movie. And maybe I liked the movie because he wanted to give me the dream. Who knows? God is going to look after his remnant one way or the other. And some people he's going to hide. Now, I don't know how long this time of provision lasts, and I know that this sounds out there. There's another verse in the Bible that talks about being hidden, and that's in Zephaniah. We'll look at that in a minute too. So here they come to Paradise Falls, or not far away from it, in South America, and it's a kind of like a rocky canyon or something or other. He's on the top of it with his balloon house, and they have some adventures. Now, in Zephaniah 2, verse 3, it says, Seek ye the Lord, all ye meek of the earth, which have wrought his judgment. Seek righteousness, seek meekness. It may be ye shall be hid in the day of the Lord's anger. The day of the Lord's anger is the tribulation. And in Zephaniah chapter 2, it talks about Gaza being forsaken. It talks about gather together, O nation unbeloved, before the fierce day of the Lord come upon you. That's verse 1. Well, that nation unbeloved is the state of Israel. it's gathered herself together. It's not the regathering of Ezekiel 34 and Jeremiah 23 and Jeremiah 20 and so forth. There's a regathering of faith of Israel and Judah, but this is a regathering not in faith, but a regathering of a secular state. And it says in verse 3 to the Gentiles, seek righteousness, seek meekness, all you meek of the earth that have wrought his judgment. Yeah, it's very costly to follow Torah if we truly follow Torah. It's very costly to follow Yeshua if we truly follow Yeshua, because many people are proud, including Christians and Messianic folks. There's a lot of pride out there, and it's hard to find a broken and contrite heart. So it's a costly thing to be meek. It's a costly thing to do his judgments. It's a costly thing to be righteous in a perverted generation, in a proud generation. But it may be that you shall be hid in the day of the Lord's anger. Well, I like that, whether that's by rapture or being in some interdimensional place or by some other means, or even a natural means. The Lord will hide some away from danger if they are sufficiently meek and lowly. So this shows me one of the great purposes of the tribulation is to humble the pride of man, is to humble a proud generation and to bring us to an end of ourselves. Now, it just so happens that Zephaniah means hidden of Yah. Zaphan means north, but it also means to be hidden in darkness, because Zaphon, the north, is related to darkness. So God is surrounded. His chariot, below his chariot is the cherubim, and below him is darkness and hail. And the Lord knows how to hide us away in darkness so that the darkness cannot find us. God is good. So I believe the darkness is coming, the grim reaper, death, destruction, the fourth horseman, all four horsemen running together, the wrath of man, people being demon-possessed with black eyes. Those trumpet players with the black eyes represent a demonic awakening and judgment, but also what is necessary to wake up a sleeping church. Whatever can be woken up is going to be woken up in the trial that is about to hit our nations. So I believe that the judgment is already sealed for this year. See how it works in the Hebrew calendar. People call it the Jewish calendar, but it's actually God's calendar. There are 12 months in a year, and sometimes there's the 13th month. There's the first month, that is when Passover comes. It's about April on the pagan calendar. But about September, October, we come into the seventh month, and that is when the Jubilee years and sabbatical years are calculated. And so the years are calculated from the seventh month. I know that sounds strange, but a month before the seventh month, when the Jubilees are counted and things are reset and judgments are in place, these are spiritual judgments, not just earthly judgments. Well, the month before is a time of introspection and seeking the Lord. It's the sixth Hebrew month. It's called Elul. And Elul is an acronym, is also an acronym for I am for my beloved and my beloved is for me. Ani Lido Di Velo Di Li. And that's from the Song of Songs. It is a time where the King is in the field, that the Lord of heaven, Yeshua, is actually attentive to our cry. It's a time where he hears us in particular. So it's a time where we should be seeking the Lord. So when he says seek the Lord while he may be found, that's particularly the time of Elul. Now that time is over, and Trumpets announces the coming judgment. I've noticed this personally in my own life, that certain judgments and certain things have been in place, both for good or for bad, in my life. There are things that weren't right in my heart, and I could see that bad judgments were coming to me. They weren't bad in the sense that God wanted to destroy me, but God was going to put me through the mill a little bit in order to deal with some issues in my flesh, in my heart. So Trumpets announces the coming judgment. This is after the month of Elul. The Trumpets is on the first day of the 7th month. Then 10 days later, and on the 10th day, we have the Day of Atonement, or Yom Kippur, and that seals the judgment in place. So judgment is sealed. And I think about the sealing of the 144,000. They may be already sealed. They may be about to be brought up to heaven, because we see a picture of the 144,000 in heaven in Revelation chapter 7, or in Mount Zion, wherever you want to call that, whether it's an interdimensional place, I've heard some people say, whether it's on earth, whether it's in heaven, they're sealed. So there are 3 times per year when the males are to appear before the Lord, and that's unleavened bread, Pentecost, and Tabernacles. So I believe Tabernacles is an ideal time for this, those that are sealed to be presented before the Lord before his judgment comes upon the earth. So I believe the Lord's judgments are coming on the earth after Tabernacles, maybe even before Tabernacles, or before the end of Tabernacles, more correctly. So the 144,000 are called virgins, and the males may be related to the man-child, Zachar in Hebrew, the 144,000. So are we about to see the 144,000 sealed, and then all the 7 seals happening at once, and the 7th seal opens up the trumpet judgments? So I've shared this before, but have the seals already been opening? My thinking is that in 2020 the seals were opening, and they actually opened it in Trumpets in 2019 in September. So if you see here, my idea is that the seals have been opening, but the horsemen haven't been galloping, they've just been walking to and fro through the earth, as I've explained in other videos. These 4 horsemen are related to the 4 winds, which are the 4 spirits mentioned in Zechariah. And the 4 winds are restrained in Revelation 7 until the 144,000 are sealed. So have the seals been released 1 year apart, but has the judgment been held back until the 7th seal, so that in effect all 7 seals come at once? This would be sudden destruction, nuclear destruction. I believe we're entering into that time, and we're going to be entering into a time just here where our world is about to get seriously unhinged. World War is going to break out, and it's going to escalate until we get to Pentecost, when we're going to have nuclear detonation of our cities. We may have some nuclear detonation happening before then. I know that this is not news that we want to hear, but this is how I have understood the end time 7-year period. I believe there's 2 sets of 7 years, because the end is declared in the beginning, and in the beginning in Genesis we have 2 lots of 7 years for Jacob getting his 2 wives, and for Pharaoh's dream of 7 good and 7 evil years of famine. So I believe we're in the 7th year of the first 7 years, and that 7th year has just begun, and by the end of that we'll have the 7 years that people associate with the beast kingdom. And we are going to be in a year of peril where the church and our nations are going to be cut down in large numbers because of hypocrisy and wickedness, and there's a remnant that's going to be saved. So, will the 4 horsemen be all riding at once? It's very clear to see that the world is already gearing up for World War III. Most of what is called the church is stone cold asleep. You can't wake them up. Trump can't save Babylon, America, and nobody in power can save our nations. In fact, secretly they're conspiring to destroy humanity and our nations. So in Jeremiah 6, verse 14, this really sums up a lot of the prophets of the church. They say, peace, peace, when there is no peace. And they comfort the people a little bit with what they say because it soothes people. It gives people hope, but it's a false hope. It's not a true hope. So in 1 Thessalonians 5:3 it says, when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction will come upon them. Well, I believe that after Tabernacles this year, the sudden destruction is going to come. It's going to come in successive waves that just grow and grow and grow, with civil unrest and just pandemonium on the streets, and chaos, joblessness, homelessness, a lack of money, and they're going to start to push through everything that they began in 2020, including this, all over again. And it's going to be much, much worse. And we are in a time of, as I say, existential danger. And this is a time where the church needs to wake up, and the true body of Messiah will actually come together. They'll truly come together. The true unity will come, but it's going to come in a time of darkness and destruction. And that's what's required. It requires the birth pangs of the kingdom in order for this baby to be born. It takes the birth pangs in order for the bride to make herself ready. It takes the birth pangs and the trials and tribulations and hurt that is coming in order to get sleepy Americans and Australians and others on their knees seeking the Lord. And I'm only talking about the remnant, because there's many in the church that'll be part of the whore church, or the beast system harlot. And so we're going to have a division between those that are truly the bride and those that are the whore. This is serious stuff. So, as I've said in my other videos, I believe we're coming into this time of shaking now. And we'll see if I'm correct. And then we'll have the 144,000 raised in glory, and on the barley harvest and unleavened bread. We'll have the fall of Satan in the second month, and that's when the second Exodus begins. And then we have the 144,000, the second lot, the wheat, getting ready to move. And this is going to be over a number of months. So this begins in Trumpets 2025, and this year ends in Trumpets 2026. But the bride ascends like the ark, pictured here, and it arrives in the middle, or the 17th of the 7th month. So I've talked about all this before. If you'd like to know more about that, see my Timelines to Tribulation and Kingdom playlist. Anyway, that's all for now. I don't want to go on anymore. I believe that judgment is here now, and everything that my website is about, including this road. See that road? It's a road less traveled. It is the road out of our nations. God is going to open a way before us, but first comes the destruction and the chaos in order to wake us up. So I believe everything that I've spoken of on my website is now about to happen. So God bless and shalom. Yevarechecha Yehovah v'yishmerecha, Ye'ir Yehovah p'nai v'lecha v'yuchanecha, Yisa Yehovah p'nai v'lecha v'yasim lecha shalom. May the Lord bless thee and keep thee. May the Lord make his face to shine upon thee. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. You know, Yeshua is a covenant keeper. He wants our hearts. He wants us being switched on. I can't believe how how asleep people are. It drives me nuts. God's about to shake whatever can be shaken in order to wake them up and destroy everything else. So Yeshua is coming soon, okay? Our hope is not in presidents or prime ministers. Our hope is in the Lord. Keep your eyes on Him and you won't sink. And I'll try to do the same. God bless and shalom. Bye-bye.